What's up? What's up? How y'all doing out there? What's up? What's up? We are live today. It's Thursday. We Thursday morning, afternoon. I don't know. Just glad to see you today. Hope everybody doing good. Um, see what we got. See what we're working with. Got to get some stuff together. See what we're doing. What we're doing. What we're doing. Hope everybody doing good today. Get some stuff sorted out. So let me get this thing together. I should be coming on tomorrow. Not gonna be on Saturday probably, but definitely probably Sunday. So give myself. But I'll definitely try to be on tomorrow. I said I was coming on today, so we're gonna see what we got with. It's gonna be a pretty simple question because if you watch what I'm saying, have they been the most disrespected? So we're gonna. Okay, give you a chance to get on in here. Let me go ahead and get this stuff sent out. We just coming on here live right now. Gonna do some talking just a little bit. We are back. We are here. Somebody came on. Let's see. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Just starting out, just getting everything warmed up. We're starting today, so let's just see where we're going. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? That looks like a Buffalo Bill fan. Augie, is that a Bills logo? I see a Buffalo Bills logo in there. If you're a Bills fan, let me know. Everybody I know pay them. You pay them to live. You don't get a exempt. I have to pay them. I don't like paying them, but I have to. Yes, I pay taxes. How you doing? What's happening? Long time no see. How you been? How you been? Glad you coming through today. We had a pretty good live one yesterday, so I thought I'd lightning strike twice. So welcome back. How you been? How you been? How you been? How you been? Appreciate everybody coming through today. We starting off early today. I'm gonna get into it in just a second. I gotta do a couple more things. I gotta send a couple more. What's up? What's up? What's up? The NBA is getting exactly and precisely what they deserve. The super team Bills of Washington. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. The reality is the guys that were the so-called end all be all are older now, and they had a great run. They had great runs, but LeBron's old, Steph Curry getting old, Durant's old, Kawhi Leonard's old, James Harden is old, Paul George getting old, Damian Lillard getting old. And that's an era that's coming to an end. The Kawhi Leonard one is probably more telling of the others. Let me explain why. He was actually healthy. He turned it on, but it wasn't enough. Kawhi Leonard in his peak in his prime turned it on, he would be still playing right now. Steph Curry got hurt, but that's not why they lost. Draymond Green is old. Jimmy Butler getting old. I'm telling you, it is a different era. You're seeing a changing of the guard, and it's good. Parity is real. Adam Silver said it, but I don't know if he was half jokingly, but it's definitely real. There's no super teams. These teams are not going to win rings left and right. That LeBron hopping on, hop off, that's not happening no more. Everybody going to Golden State to get the bag? That's not going to happen anymore. So you got what you got. And I ain't got no problem with it because I look forward to seeing the SGA OKCs, the Tyrese Halliburton. That's where real basketball, that's what you see in guard play, strategy, structure. That's what you got. We don't really want to see the same teams in the finals no more. That era is washed. It should be. We're in a high tech era. We have more. You got players spreading around. And how you gonna form a super team today? How? Who is the super team today? Because your super team is not the way you remembered it. Oh, if you want to go to OKC, yeah, you can hop on board, but you can't really. I gotta say, excuse me, it's probably the first time that you can't really put a super team together. It's over. Now let me look at the other pieces that we got, in case you want to know where I'm going at with this. Zion Williamson ain't steady enough. John Morant's always in trouble, so you just know that those are two guys right there. Somebody would team them up. You know, well, he's a good point guard. Period. I mean, he played that fundamentally textbook style. The way he plays is what's throwing people for a loop because he really plays within the context of the game. He's not overshooting and he's not overdoing anything. He plays within the context. The word was the Warriors had a chance to get him and they didn't. I bet they're eating crow now because he see when you're running for gimmicks, it's like running for a hit song. Gimmicks don't last too long. That's why when they got stuck with Buddy Hield, they could have had Halliburton. Think about it. And Buddy Hield is so streaky. It's kind of like how their season was. So you play with him what you got. Steph Curry was like, I'm okay with what I got. Golden State like, no, we're not. This the thing. It's hard to win rings, especially when you get older. Especially when you can't get that it dude no more. You're not the it team, and everybody's doing what you're doing. So it's changed. It's changed. That's why I keep saying LeBron should retire. You ain't getting no more with this situation because you got to have a lot of things fall into place, and I just don't see it. NBA has changed, and the parity is real. So we'll see. But yeah, that's a good topic thing. I like how you spoke on it. All right. Well, thank you for coming through. Great to see you. Even if it was just for a minute. Thank you came through. But anyway, yeah. And again, I'll have this one on one of my live streams soon. Glad to have people coming through. And feel free to come on and contact. But yeah, the Pacers are playing really well. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in their game against the Knicks. The Knicks got to play out their mind, and they got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. But, it's going to be a different type of vibe and energy and synergy. No, you don't. You say that because you want something to be fake, and maybe as a fan, you really don't mean that. The Knicks don't deserve a game 7. They don't. They're getting what they got because they stole they got over on Boston. Peace out. Good to see you, DM. Thank you for coming through. The Knicks don't deserve no game 7. They really don't deserve a game 5, if you must be honest. The Pacers play with more poise, more heart, more soul. They've exposed New York. The Brunson cat thing, they need another piece. If and Tibbs is embarrassing. Hit a man who don't never want to go to his bench. Now he gotta go to his bench because the Pacers are busting that butt 10 deep. And you come to find out these cats you got, 2 or 3 of them, you gotta do it. You're getting winded. You're getting exposed. You got no answer for Brunson. Don't let Sock'em go off because then you're gonna get socked up your head. And Miles Turner, I'm telling you, I'm watching Indiana. They keep throwing new faces, new places, new ways. They're beating them with multiple different people. It's always somebody else stepping up. New York don't have that. That's bad coaching. That's on Tibbs. He still ain't learned that hey, this hero ball mess is played. This 2.5 point man team, this Mike D'Antoni way, is played. But that's okay. You know what they say? Do stupid things, win stupid prizes. Keep playing dumb like that before you get yourself fired. Because somebody come along who can coach New York is going to make an adjustment where they don't just wear Brunson out and expect Cat to come in and y'all got to be down by 50, 80 points and then y'all got to come back. And it looked good because y'all went a round or two. But it's like putting a band-aid over a severe cut that spread. But you trying to put a little band-aid here and say, well, we'll stop the bleeding. But the cut is still there. Knicks, and they're not really a team that I'm really that blown away by, if I'm honest. I'm not. Because to be honest with you, I they were better than Detroit. Shouldn't have beaten Boston, and they look like they're no match for Indiana. The last 2 years, was it 7-1 Indiana over them or something like that? So that's how I look at it. I can't even really even fathom that. They just, you know. But I hope the Pacers beat them. The Pacers should go and play OKC and give us one of the best finals we've seen. And I will say this: if the Pacers go and finish it up, that will be a great finals. I really believe it. But teams like the Knicks and Minnesota are fraudulent. Yeah, I see it because it's a lot of gimmick ball, and they're getting exposed. gonna be here. Yeah, I mean, we just talking about how you know how bad they look. Hmm. So they, again, when you play like that, that's what you're gonna get, though. So I can't really even speak on them. All I know is they've been disrespected. Let me see what the poll says. Oh yeah, I don't know what that mean. I don't know who you are. It don't look like that's in English, so it looks like offensive. So you gotta go. People come on here and be trolling and don't identify. Don't say how you doing. What's up? What's up? They just be up here trying to throw stuff out here. I like this poll. Everybody is saying they've been disrespected. Thank you. Because all these so-called experts, all these so-called gurus, all these so-called y'all were just so-called. And then what had happened? What had happened was SGA became a league MVP. What had happened was they beat the Denver Nuggets in the second round, and they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. They beat the guy that y'all been wanting to call the best player going today, the real MVP, and they beat the guy that y'all want to call the future and all that. That's all that SGA just accomplished. That's all. He took care of the guy who was him yesterday in John Morant. So if you ever watch the movie, The Five Heartbeats, and Eddie King says, "You and me, I was you." That's what happened. John Morant was him yesterday. And now you fast forward to what beating Jokic, and now you can beat Ant. So, and the truth is, I couldn't have thought of a better story if I'd have dreamt it up. Because I think SGA and OKC to go against uh, Halliburton and the Pacers will be must see. That's what I say. But let me know what you thinking though. So, but yeah, I like the fact that people are actually in sync with this poll. There's no questions asked. We're definitely on the same. Mhm. So yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When you see a team and a player that this, I gotta recall a time that I've seen a player and a team that's been so disrespected in the NBA. Who can I think of? I mean, even the Dallas Mavericks when they beat Miami, because LeBron was just a bum and he was hating and well, but Dirk went and worked kind of low key, but not. But this is different though. I can't recall a guy who was the MVP, clearly, excuse me, the best player, gone, etc. And then he's just been disrespected and his team too. has happened. Stranger things have been known to happen. This is one of the most twilightest things I've ever seen. All right, anybody out here? Let's see if anybody's gonna come out here. We'll be here for a little while longer. Seems like I'm pretty quiet today. It's funny how that works because one day it's nonstop on here, and the next day you get, So I will give it another. Yesterday I did almost an hour, so I'll give it another. Yeah, I'll see what's like another 10 minutes. Put some music on. So yeah, we just kind of like in chill mode. Sometimes people come on a little bit later than they do. Let's see what's going on. Again, no vulgarity up in here. I don't know who you are, so you can't be talking like that. Now, people gonna come on here and address. They're gonna talk with some proper adult adequacy. I'm not dealing with no vulgarian, and I'm not dealing with no trolls. What's up? Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I hope you'll be on for at least a half hour longer because I need some conversation. So feel free. I came on around the same time, you know. So let's make it count. I'm sure you got a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. You get nightmares with Dallas's defense. What you do against him is simple. It's kind of like football. If I was going to what's up? What's up? How you doing? If I was going to go defend him, I'd do just like you do in football with the packages. What you do is you go in the zone, you stack a guard on him, and then you stack behind him. You make him pass the rock. You let him shoot. You cut off him from driving. You cut his lanes. He has to figure out how to pull up quick. He has to pull out how to think. He got to get him a guard that can stretch the floor. And that's where Rudy Gobert is such a waste because he doesn't make you pay in the low post. See, that's the problem right there. Him and Julius Randle and the others they got Nasir, they're nice. They don't have a low post dominant presence, and they don't have a. And Mike Conley's too old. They don't have a point guard that can set tempo. Imagine if he had Tyrese Halliburton or Shea. You give Ant a legit point guard that can spread the floor, then they can keep everybody honest. People can sag on him, and since if he's effective when he drives and shoots, but if he has to like concentrate and put that ball on the floor and he's getting frustrated. They don't have a lot of options out of him and Julius Randle. So, oh, If you're promoting as the guy is the best player going up, well, one of the guys you're promoting as the hype player, you'd be surprised. Who's big time today? Well, I'm gonna let you on a little secret, right? Can I tell you a little secret? If John Morant can get him, he'd do it. I mean, would you rather be stuck in Memphis or go to Minnesota? If you're Zion Williamson, what would you rather do? I think you can attract with Ant. And it depends on who you consider to be big time players today. It's not about destinies today, it's about winning. Because you look, if Indiana and OKC go to the finals, did you see that? Are they destinies? If he gets his butt in shape and plays like he's supposed to, you might not can get Giannis, but you could get Zion. Yeah, but his career is a risk right now. Griffin got fired from New Orleans as the president, so it's a risk right now. Joe Dumars is the president. You talk about a risk. Brandon Ingram got dealt. They are nothing but a fire sale for the. They're basically an auction block. So I'm just saying it might take a move like that to shake things up if he's in shape. He's gonna get traded though. He would love to go to New York. Just don't have the. Yeah, but who's the big? Who's these big guys that you talk about? Because if I'm honest right now, right, Cade Cunningham is coming. De'Aaron Fox, I hope he turns out okay with San Antonio because he looked bad last year. But Sabonis, I mean, you got some guys. Now it's just a matter how can you fine tune and move them and put them in the right place. That's all. There gotta be some moves though. I can imagine there gonna be some moves that you didn't see coming because you don't really have the so-called super cats is old now. So what you got that's super that's playing now, unless you break up Tatum and Brown or something goes down with Boston or something. I mean, just saying. Orlando's got a few pieces, but I don't think those guys are necessary next level. But if this Indiana OKC thing, KD be trying to either go to Houston or try to get back to OKC. Go ahead, feel free. Feel free. I'm on here, so let's do it. It's earned. You can demand it from your parents or somebody like that's older. That's demand, but it's earned through peers. You know, Trey Young is, but I don't know who's gonna touch him. Kyrie getting old and he getting hurt. I don't know. He got about 2 or 3 years, maybe a peak prime. I don't know. Dame, same thing. Yeah, but the only one you touch out those three is Trey Young. I hate to say it. He's the healthy of the three. And Dame is not effective in Milwaukee at all. Not at all. And Kyrie, the injuries, the timing, don't know. I'll use a Shaquille O'Neal line. 2025 ain't 2015. So you do the math. And you remember what he was like that year and end up how the season ended and the shot he made? 2025, 2026 ain't 2020, ain't 2015, 2016. 10 years older. Just take that consideration. Trey, but you know how of a head case he is. It's earned because you see somebody and you can truly respect what they're about. It's like, you might not even like them, but you're like, Demand is like somebody who is telling you what's up, and it's kind of like I'm going to demand this. I'm going to let it be known, and that's how it is. Shape up or ship out. That's kind of like your parents or something. So they hit differently. So I'd like to say that um, when you earn it, it feels good because it's kind of like you earned it. You didn't have to go tell nobody you going to respect me. You know that's what happens when you're in a house. Remember, till you 18 years old, you gonna respect my authority. Think about it. There's a difference. But anyway, come on back, J. Will. It's only Trey Young out them three. Dame ain't gonna really do much in Milwaukee. It don't look good. And thoughts and prayers to get himself health wise, but his actual game does not really fit Giannis. It really doesn't. He just out there stat padding at this stage. It's not winning games. He's not a defender, and he ain't Drew Holiday, and it doesn't fit. Kyrie and Luca were nice. Kyrie and AD could be nice if he comes back. He's able to, but they very injury prone, so I don't know. Depends on where you live. Depends on your culture. Depends on your. First, a lot of people do it, and don't act like it's something new. When I was in high school, I had to compete with grown dudes with teenage girls all the time. So no, I'm gonna stick to what I said, Charlene. You earn it. You earn it based on how you carry yourself. People can respect that. Demanding it is like telling someone, and you don't really want to do that. You really don't want to do that. You don't want to have to ask for something that should be just do. Because if you have to ask for it, you're never going to get it. So let me just say it that way. Let me preface it that way. You demanding, you demand a job. You demand to hear to somebody. You don't demand no respect, but you get it by people respecting you morally and ethically. That carries weight. But anyway, dry turkey. That's this goes on forever and a day. Now, the only downside to it is that the maturation part. Hmm. And people change rules and regulations to see fit. Just saying. Hmm. Just taking conversation. Okay, eight. I like it. All of it is saying SG and OKC. Thank you for the people that participate in the voting. I'm glad we are all on the same syncopation because it has been a disrespect. You can't even tell me otherwise. It's kind of like what you're seeing with the Diddy case, Exhibit A, because the people are kissing the ring. They're not kissing him because they love him. They kissing the ring because the money's telling them you got to. Think about it. Use him as an example. Think about it. Well, would you want well that because it's the second time it's happened to him, Jay? Well, the first time was in Baltimore when Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco is a white man, and I'm sure that he's like, I'm tired of having to mentor these black play quarterbacks all the time, taking my job. And Sanders carries weight, and Joe Flacco, who ain't won a championship since pretty much Aaron Rodgers before there was a thing called Snapchat, has got to be kind of tired. But he's got to also understand something. You ain't that good, and you are quarterbacking in Cleveland. And if you, how many letters you got in your name? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. You got 9 letters in Joe Flacco. You're not going to win 9 games, but you're good for half of that. Well, He got a job. He's got one ring over Colin Kaepernick. But tell me, what has he done that's so memorable that he could still be getting a quarterbacking job at this stage? Do, do tell. Because I saw him throwing bad picks within the past year. Now, with Joe Flacco, I used to say if the season was only September, October, and you could jump to January, February, he'd be one of the top five greatest quarterbacks ever because he stunk it up mid-November, December. But he has a great starts, and he always has the postseason. He's the half broke version of Eli. Yeah, tough. There's a reason why you're in Cleveland too. There's a reason because nobody legit's gonna touch you. Yeah, Charlene, all you gotta do is go to Diddy. There you go. Sometimes you got your answers right in front of you. And people don't respect him. They just fear him. They feared him because of the money. Because he is as no talent hack as he is, and janky and funny and all the other stuff that goes on. He learned the game. He got game in terms of hustle. And if you know how to street game and you know how to put money and you put pieces in places, you can. It's a lot of stuff you can do. You sure can. That's all Diggs does. That's why he ain't with the Bills no more. That's why he messed up with Houston. And Vrabel got to be very careful because he don't have a lot of people that are attracted to come to New England. Yeah, he messing with Cardi B, so hope he enjoys it. It's just the front though. He's on the fast track to being a broke version of Antonio Brown. That's all it is. It's just another AB, and no different than um what's his butt? Why am I not thinking about him right now? Who been messing with Diddy and Bieber too? What's his butt? Played with the Rams, won the Super Bowl. It was with Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. What am I thinking about him right now? You know what I'm talking about? The one hand catch receiver. Why am I not thinking about him right now? Can't even put his name on my brain right now. But he's headed towards him too. That's who Diggs is putting me in the frame of mind of. No, because he didn't put the work in. You see, Diggs is like trying to. He didn't even do what Tyreek Hill did. You know, even whatchamacallit went to the Rams and won a Super Bowl ring as a wideout. Diggs is just one of those cats that's about having a good time. No, he talent and putting your work in is two different things. It's not the first one though. But you would have thought that after being so close with the Bills, he'd have been one to put more work in. Now he's just basically just bouncing around. That's all. Odell Beckham. That's who I was trying to think of. Beckham even ODB got a ring with the Rams. He probably tried to get a front office job. Maybe try to be a coach. Maybe he'll put some money together and try to get some ownership or ownership. I'm sure they're gonna keep him around. I don't know why. They used him as a product pitchman. He was the president of union. I don't know why. Yeah, they're gonna make him like they did Joe Dumars. That's what he strikes me as. I can't see him being away from the game. But I will be glad when he does retire. He need to be retired like 5 years ago. So you say. So you say. That's all I ever heard. But I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't see it. I never saw it in the postseason. He had his chance in 2021, had a 2-0 lead. Giannis came back and ran their butt off the court. I don't see it. Maybe it got lost in the mail. I don't know. I remember he used to do his All State commercials with John Stockton was a fundamentally point guard who shot the ball well, who passed the ball well, who paced the game really well. Got to two NBA finals, by the way, with less fanfare than CP3. And that's not up for discussion. Stockton runs circles around CP3. Stockton wasn't as athletic CP3, but he was mentally more in tune as an assist man and working on the concept. CP3 had been CP3 been burnt for like 4 years. He been playing about four. He playing like he playing for extra pension money. Yeah, but how long ago was that? How long ago was that? You talking back when YouTube just came on the networks? Come on now. You talking about when LimeWire was around? No, if you can play, you make your team better. I'm gonna take this off and take that off because again, he had a window where he was bad, but that's a long. But then he went to OK. He went to all these other teams, and what he do? Nothing. Shoot. Yeah, they've been up 4 or 5 years ago when he with Phoenix. They were still trying to hype him up like they were. They were still trying to say, well, maybe if he wins against Milwaukee, he's top five. Okay, let that sink in. That's 4 years ago. So it ain't sunk in. And then he done just went from pillow to post. So I can't with him. I think he one of the most overrated. And the longer he plays, the worse it look. I'm not saying he ain't might not fall as one of the 10 best point guards, but he ain't with no Stockton. Yeah, but they weren't supposed to be the mailman. They were athletic. Um, Carl Malone with them two. I don't know how that. If you're gonna put Carl Malone with a point guard that would have really worked besides Stockton, would have been with Jason Kidd. Steve Nash, maybe. CP3 hit made bad decisions and didn't finish up, and a lot of stuff he just got outplayed on. Gary Payton was bad. Low post present player works well with him. Low post center works better with him. Why do you think what? Why do you think? Because Kid could beat you. Kid was like the closest thing I saw to Magic Johnson in the sense he didn't have to score a lot to beat you. That's why. Kid rebounds, assists, steals. He did a lot of everything. He did a lot of little everything. And when he learned how to shoot that three ball, he was that one dude. Like if he played today, he would fit right there with Shea and fit there right with Halliburton. He'd fit. No questions asked. No questions asked. Because I thought he was a really strong floor general. Oh, he taught him. He learned everything from Gary, but they were two different players. Gary taught him a lot of the physical things because they grew up in the Bay. But Gary was a better post up. Yeah, he was a better post up. That's where GP earned his stripes. He could back you down, and he was stronger than he knew how to use his body. But Kid on the open break, Kid with the passing, Kid with the in transition. Look at what Kid did for Kenyon Martin and Richard Jefferson and Skittles. Come on now. Lawrence Freight got a career out of Kid. When Kid got his thing together with his maturation, he was something else. He blew a lot out of his career. That's a fact. So play against each other a lot. But I like them in different ways though. Kid wasn't a post player like Gary Payton, and Gary didn't have the ability to beat you in different ways like Kid. So it's two different things. He was a great defensive player. Now said otherwise, I like GP a lot, but he will tell you to your face that Stockton was better. He said it. Duncan, what's up? Duncan, yeah, what's up? I told us come back today. Duncan, Giannis is playing great, but I don't feel about him like I do Duncan. To me, it's no comparison because he ain't the shooter that Duncan is. He can't utilize his team like Duncan can. I saw something, but I didn't see something. So what all he say about? I like old ornery Terry Bradshaw when he gets his he learned to say what is it? What's the fish? What's not scallop. What is it? Not oysters. But anyway, he says it all the time. But when he don't like nobody, he cracked me up. Because he said it about Mahomes. Remember, he said they not winning a three-peat. He came out and said that emphatically. He cracked me up. Bradshaw don't be holding back. Oh no, he don't want no Aaron Rodgers. Aaron's a clown. It wasn't zucchini, but what was the fish that he went on about? It'll come to me, and I have to say it another time I see you. Not clams. Yeah, but he funny though with it though. He don't like, but he ain't lying. Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is gonna get roasted. I do believe Duncan would today. I do believe he would today. Duncan would be special today. What's that? I can't think. Yeah, yeah. And it's better than what Jason Kidd used to get, that little artificial broke planetarium thing. No, he ain't. Yeah, I think you should get the award. I think you should. I think that Bird and Magic, I think it's appropriate. Because that's a award I can respect, not that in season tournament crap. I don't think it made Ant soft. I just think that he has to learn how to read. You ask me what does it mean when I say reading? So in NFL when they have cover two, right? Or you have drop coverage, safety over you. So think about the guard play, right? He goes to make his cuts. He has to pass the ball, make drives, work on not being frustrated, cut down the turnovers, and hit his man in the paint. They had to go back to fundamental 101. Use Rudy Gobert. Make you have to find out what we got. Pitch, go. No. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. His IQ ain't there. You gotta learn. You done lost 2 straight years. Luca and Kyrie, Shea and Jay Will. You done lost 2 straight years with the guard play coming at you, getting at you at the top. You got to figure out how to make people punish him. He getting frustrated. I'm going with the 25 Thunder because that 2012 Thunder, um, James Harden was coming off the bench. They lost closely to Miami, but he ain't gonna get fired. He bought himself a Jeff Fisher Price. Are you kidding me? They in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's a Jeff Fisher Price. They ain't gonna fire him. Then maybe after next year, but they ain't firing him this year. I'm with you though. He should be fired because this turkey just learned that he got a bench. And you mean to tell me you're this deep in the season? It take you 100 games to go. Oh well, maybe I'll go use him. Now I understand JJ ridiculous pulling that mess because he didn't know no better. But you've been around how long, Tibbs? You didn't been some associate of coaching for like 20 plus years, 15 as a head coach, and you just learned 100 games. Maybe I'll use my bench. Maybe that 2.5 dead Tony mess is why y'all burnt. They just need a center that can be durable. But I think the 25 Thunder beat them. I do. Roger Craig. Because everybody that's a back catches balls and runs for yards. Plus, he was part of a dynasty. Plus, he was just as impactful as Montana, as impactful with Ronnie Lott. That's I like Torrey Holt a lot, but that's Roger Craig. Cameron Payne, Sergeant Major Payne. He still keeps a job though. I give him that. Yeah, I'll give you that. I won't argue that because he'll do something Durant Westbrook didn't do. And it's hard to argue. It's gonna be hard to argue that. Plus, 3 straight years of 30 points, assists. The team gets better, 6-8 win team, and he ain't going nowhere. And he got a chance. If he wins this year, he got a chance to win another ring. He could be looking at two chips. So I ain't got no problem with that. I like SGA. I told you he played tough. You know, he ain't going to no Pacers. He be trying to go back to OKC or Houston. He ain't going back to. He ain't going to no Pacers. The Pacers don't need him for what? That's not one of their problems. Their problem is basically how they start and also how they utilize pieces. And they don't want no old man. Not at this stage. They don't need him. Now, you want him on a team that's got a good guard? You want him on a team that's got a good guard? Send him to Detroit. Let him play with Cade Cunningham. That's where Durant would look pretty good. If I'm going to go that route, play with Cade. Because Cade is coming. The Pistons just need another option and a couple bench dogs. Cade Cunningham is coming. That could be the next rivalry in the East with Detroit and Indiana if Cade gets the pieces. Oh, you heard it here first. I don't know nobody else talking about it. See, I be watching modern NBA. I ain't stuck in no time warp. Now, granted, I'll take old school over what's out today. But if I'm going, but I do like what I see with Cade Cunningham as I do with Tyree Halliburton. They don't need a guy though that's just a straight shooter. The problem is that he ain't healthy enough, and he might take away what they do. So I wouldn't really waste my time. I think him with Detroit would be more interesting. If you see anybody going through something, you should raise your hand. I think. Don't wait. If you love somebody, you get at it. The 2009s people just sit there and act like they gonna step back. No, if you love somebody and you care about somebody, you make that initiative. You let them know how you feel. Yeah, no soon. If I'm the Pacers and I wanted a step back on a shooter, uh, I try not to. I like old boxing. I mean, when you still hearing about Manny Pags coming back, I'm like, no, no. Why are cats coming back? UFC is entertaining, but no one is bigger than Dana White. And if they still got Conor McGregor floating around, which they still trying to sell me on, I'm not interested. And I don't really like Dana White. It's interesting, but the only problem is it's short lived. The cast that's running the racket is the one that benefits off it the most. Boxing old school, boxing more. And UFC is cool and to an extent, but you really don't get a chance to romanticize the athletes, and that's a problem. TV wrestling. It's yeah, but you got to be athletic and entertaining. And you, again, it's like being a model. But TV wrestling is like everything in the entertainment industry. Yeah, they do. But you gotta still be you still bankable. I'm sorry, you can be tough and all that, but you still gotta be bankable. They do put money on people. Well, cats want to get paid. That's why they duck. It's all about economics. No, you're asking me about taking the initiative with someone. That's a different entity when you're talking about. You know by the people you associate with, they'll tend to kind of like key you in on certain things. You know, people give you cues. I'd almost let him do whatever he wanted to do. That guy got the most home runs now. Everybody was slurping Aaron Judge. Everybody was like, I said, don't y'all know that this is still the baddest player going in baseball? The Dodgers hit the cha-ching. They got him out of the junior whopper, double junior whopper, and got him to the prime. Now, you want to talk about going from a junior whopper, double, triple junior whopper, broke to the main? That's what the Angels were. Now he's with the Dodgers. So he got it right. A lot of these turkeys settle for being the broke version. Oh, he do whatever he want, and he gonna pay. He done more than pay whatever they paying him. Is more than getting paid off. Don't let them win another ring, and don't let him win another MVP. He'll be paying off a he'll pay off a 10-year deal in two. This guy's on. This guy's something else. He's something else. And the scary part, you don't even get all the half of it with the stolen bases, with the impact he has. I mean, he's the juice. He is the juice right now. Yeah, Charlene. I mean, it all depends on the conversation, but you know, depends on who you're dealing with, though. All right, now keep on hitting these likes up. Everybody appreciate everybody coming through. I know some people have been kind of MIA right now. Where you at? No, I didn't say that. Now, I didn't say that. He's great for his era. He's great for his era. No, to be over Barry Bonds, he gotta do this another 5, 10 years. And I'm not gonna put him over Bonds because Bonds was still the best I ever saw. But I'm gonna say this: he's pretty special. He's pretty special. The pitch and hit. Yeah, you thought you were gonna slick and be slick. No. But if the Dodgers win chips and he's league and he's MVP and he's dominant, then he ain't that far behind. But I don't know about that. That needs another 5 or so years before I say that. But I'll say this: he's bad. He's bad, and I ain't seen nothing like him because he got that it. This cat gets it. It's tougher for me because as a Yankee fan, he's better than Aaron Judge, and Aaron can hit for power, all that, but he don't hit. He ain't like Otani. Otani's just cool with it. It's like a cool that you just know that in the right setting he gonna win. He got a ring already. That's what you play for. Get that jewelry. So I gotta call it like I see it. So I ain't faking the phone. You ain't gonna accuse me of faking the phone. And that's the only thing Bonds wasn't able to do is win the ring. He got to the World Series runner up. That's the only thing because he did everything else supposed to do. No, I'm not gonna say that. But I do like Otani a lot though. Otani, because they played together and Trout couldn't do nothing. And the thing about Trout is this: Trout was bad, but he couldn't stay healthy and he couldn't win for his team. You got to do both. You're going to stat pad, but you don't win. You stat pad, but you don't really do anything to get your team better. Yeah, he was a freak, but it didn't translate to W's. It didn't translate to what they've got. They've been one of the most underachieving teams I've ever seen in baseball in my life. So I don't know where Ted is at because I'm still trying to think what that fish that Terry Bradshaw like. It's not halibut. It's not. It's Japanese. What is it? Somebody need to holler it out. What is it that he always be going on about? Because every time he on the show, that's all he ever. Not zucchini. We're gonna burn me up because I can see tip of my tongue with him always talking about it. Oysters or not prongs, oysters. What's the one that Terry Bradshaw always be on about? Because he always talks about it. Yeah, I got Otani. I got Otani. Trout was bad, but Trout didn't hit me like Otani though. No, it's not clams. It's not mussels. Keep calling it out. Keep calling them out. I know it when I hear it because he. That's all he ever talk about on that broadcast. That's what he always talks about. And if you watch him, can't think of it. Hold up. Let me go do something. Hold up. All right, I'm back. Not lobster. No, it's. God, what is it? It's gonna drive me crazy trying to think about. You got to keep naming things. When you say it, I'll know it. Because he talk about it all the time. Every time, it's not clams. It's not. He always talks about it on the NFL Network. Always, every time he's on, because he eats it a lot. Just gotta keep calling names out. Or if you get a chance, because I can't right now. If you type in Terry Bradshaw favorite seafood, it should come up. Because he talks about oyster. Well, it's not oysters, but he keep talking about it all the time. Somebody actually doesn't think SG and the Thunder. That's interesting. All the polls are. It was going to straight 100. It's crazy now. Anyway, it'll come to me. I know. I know. Just can't think of it right now though. Hmm. What does Terry Bradshaw say? It's not shrimp. Do you think if they think he can play, they'll bring him back? I mean, they have a tendency if they think that you're worthy, they'll bring you back. They pick who they want to pick. That's a whole different animal. Because Greg Hardy got to come back. And they act like nothing happened with Ray Lewis. So, it all depends on who you are. So that's all I can ever say about that. I can't really say that, because they pick who they want. I don't really even care. Because they did Colin Kaepernick, I'm just saying they do what they want. So, when anybody gets put on NFL, it all comes down to what they want. Do you think that's good? Only if it means he's gonna get more touches. And he did run really well last year for the Bills. They gotta utilize him more. So I don't know. I hope they do, but the way they run offenses, I if you think that you're just gonna get this back that's gonna come here and stuff is, I mean, but I think he should get it though. So this thing here with Bradshaw is gonna bug me. I got to keep in my brain. What is he like? I like James Cook though. I thought he did good, but again, there's so much that goes on that. So, when you ask me about that, a lot depends on what the parties are looking at. So I don't know, but they'd be dumb if they don't keep him though. It's hard to have a back that's gonna play with Josh and thrive. So yeah, and the way she did that video on Instagram, I tell you, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Everybody's trying to tell him, and she strikes me like she's for them streets. We'll see. He's in a good state though, because in Florida you don't get but so much. So, but then again, it could be a long season. You playing with a no quarterback having Jaguars, and you got a no prenup. I don't know. Sounds like disaster is on the order. Yeah, I like that. What was it? He had something that I saw that he was doing, but I don't know. Of course, maybe he feels like, hey, if it don't work out, oh well. Mm, I don't know. Think somebody hooked him up though, but I don't know. I can't imagine if you're a young player playing today and don't have no prenup though. I don't know. So there's money out. So I don't know. We'll see. Was it Snail by Terry Bradshaw? Was it Snail? Something like Snail. Yeah, as long as she ain't going to no Diddy parties. I mean, but you know, cats' thresholds nowadays is different. So I don't. Sushi, sushi. That's it. Where you at? Dry turkey. That's it. Sushi. Sushi is what Bradshaw always be on about. I knew if I sat here long enough, it would hit me. Started with the S. It was sushi. That's all he always liked to talk about. Sushi this, sushi that. I think it's because the way that the woman was portraying herself on Instagram. That's why the cats was raising flags. That's all. Yeah, it's his business. At the end of the day, it is his business. But it don't mean that we don't have opinions about it. Nobody wants to see the young brother get taken to the cleaners. He's in a very violent sport where you don't last forever, and you gotta be really good, and you gotta have a lot of things going your way. So it's just people looking out, having thoughts from this. Because there are people that do care, and they don't want to see a young brother get taken to the cleaners. That's all. Okay. Okay. Let's get some conversation going. But if he does, I'm not. You know what? We all what we call armchair quarterbacks or armchair, psychics. It's just a matter of opinion. That's all. But he's a young 21-year old, and I'm just saying, if someone, hey, is saying, yo, be careful what you do. That's all it is. We see a lot of young black entertainers and get in these businesses, and then they get on over the head, and then they get taken and get shattered, taken up by their family, so-called friends. People go call on them. That's all. But if he happens to be what I consider to be, talented, gifted, then you know, of course we want the. We just want. It's just about having the best for the man. That's all. Just don't want to seem like he's getting taken advantage of. You are. You're fair game because you're part of the media, and people are looking at your situation, and you become a role model, a real model. And if your fiance or girlfriend is out there jiggling at the parties and and all the other stuff that goes on, people are looking at that too. So that all works for and against you. So I'm just saying, it's all fair game. So again, it's fair game. You don't want no one to say nothing. You can keep your business to the low. Just because you are known, everybody who has an Instagram that's in Hollywood or something doesn't have everybody in their business. There are still some people that have tact and they keep their business to an arm's length. And you can do it. Even in 2025, you can do it. make a spectacle out of everything, you're gonna have people gonna give you a shrine and they're gonna give you a Ferris wheel. So anyway, let's get some more likes up and let's get some more conversation up. See what we're working with. Okay. Let's see what we got. It's gotten quiet again. Please hit the likes, hit that subscribe. Let's see what we're working with. Hmm. Waiting on conversation. Let's just see. All right, see what we're working with. Can you? No, I don't be doing no stuff like that. Can you? It ain't nothing new. Yeah, I do dances, but I don't know about that one. But anyway, just waiting on people coming through. Just waiting on people to come through. See what we got. Waiting, 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 waiting. I'm not even gonna answer that kind of question. quiet again. We still stuck with the same question, so we're going to see. Nope, I'm right here, but I'm not hearing anything. I'm very much aware, but no one's saying nothing. And you didn't say anything to me about sushi. So just waiting. I had to check on some files I got going too, by the way. So I'm chilling, but I'm also checking on some other files. That's how I came up with the Bradshaw sushi. Okay, yeah. Because if people are talking, I'm talking. If they're not, I got stuff to do. So, you know, probably be on for another 20 minutes. Been on for an hour and a half already. We already live in that world. You got atheists, you have the right wing, you have people that are divided. They don't want peace, they don't want love, they live in racial intolerance, they don't balance together. We already live in that state. I feel that way. When people are spiritual or ingrained, you feel it. But it's the way there's this negative energy that's out there. And it feels that way. Because you're already seeing what that world is like with all the isms and the divide and the lockups, etc. We already live in that world, sadly. I am impressed with the poll, though. Most people, majority, are saying SG and OKC been disrespected. So I like that poll. We're just waiting on questions and stuff. I'm very much awake, very alert. Just waiting on more Q&A because people disappeared. When I found out that thing with Terry Bradshaw, like I didn't get no feedback about the sushi. So, but anyway, just a waiting conversation or something. And the truth is that once I'm done here, I gotta go for a walk. I gotta work on a couple of videos. I'm gonna, again, I got a lot of stuff. You'll see as time goes on. Got a lot of stuff done. West Indies. But I will say this: China, the balance to keep the weight off, to stay fit like that, is amazing. So America's gonna finish dead last in that argument. Most of that food is illegal. If you go to another countries, there's 40% of it's illegal. They be putting all kinds of pesticides and sides. You don't know what you eat. But I gave West Indies the vegetables, the fruit hit different, and then I'd say Chinese. But they are healthy though. But America's gonna be in last no matter what you try to say. Sorry. But I'm not. They are. So that's a good question though. That's a real good question. But you know America's gonna come in last place though. As long as you understand that. They're not gonna okay, I'm trying to figure out where everybody went, but I don't know. But anyway. There would be no America without other cultures. That was part of it coming together as one. That's what people don't understand when you say United States. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that you have to have it. That's free enterprise. That's why Trump gets capped. That's why Europe gets capped because without those contributions, you have no country. You have no wealth. It took that to make it as a whole. So they're idiots if they support someone that wants to block them from education, wants to block them from living, wants to block them from their money being spent. But what they're doing is a racial type of way of trying to what he's doing. However, it's not going to work. But yeah, if you don't have other cultures, you don't have a country. That's as simple as I can put it. And if you think I'm lying, do your research because that's how the United States was built. Africans to America, some by choice, a lot not by. Italians from Italy, European, different places, all have contributed to making America America. So don't let the whitewash that they're attempting to fool you get you. Okay, so let's see what we're working with. You have to have contribution to get something. It doesn't just magically happen by itself. So no matter what they try to tell you, they telling you they're trying to whitewash stuff and because it's built. But if you go by the totality and the reality, they wouldn't have much of nothing without it. Without slavery, without the laborers, there would be no America. Okay, just waiting on conversation. It got quiet again. Let's see what time I got. If I don't get any more conversation, I'll call it another 5 minutes. I will definitely be back tomorrow. Not gonna be on Saturday. Maybe Sunday I'll be on. It's a slim chance I'll be on Saturday afternoon. Maybe, but I'll either take Saturday or Sunday off. One or two will be a day off. But I'll definitely be on tomorrow. No, they shouldn't have. She took pictures which were, maybe they were provocative for the time. They want to talk about morals and ethics. Well, I mean, you know, it's overblown. And the African American woman that did get the crown, no one remembered her. Everyone remember Vanessa Williams. So Vanessa Williams had a pretty good career, I'd say. 40 years later, she done made music, movies, theater, plays, and she still got respect. So, well, I just don't think that. I think that that whole thing was she was trying to make a side hustle, and they used it against her. But she got the last. She got the last laugh. She got the W because she is been quite productive, quite prolific, because she looked at it as art and she wanted to get paid. And she happened to have a body that was desired. And they don't just hand out money to you just because you think you look good, especially if you're a black female in them type of magazines, especially with how racist parent all that. I mean, I never talk about that, but these magazines that were entertainment gear for men that women watched and looked at as well, they didn't put a heavy emphasis on black women being on their covers or associated with them, not publicly. That almost explains it all. Madonna's wasn't like Vanessa Williams though. Vanessa Williams was a Miss America pageant. That was milky, wholesome, and apple pie. Here's a big difference. Madonna had low budget movie and pictures, but she wasn't representing middle America in the sense that she was a Miss America pageant. That was more corporate. That was more conservative. Even though it's really no different than escorting, if you will. But it's a little game that they play, but it's more wholesome. Yeah, we'll use the word wholesome. Madonna wasn't, but the crossover was different. It was a whole different hit. So Madonna definitely got, but Madonna was smart. She hustled. She hustled. She's one of the, smartest entertainers I've ever seen. Neither. I'll take a house, a regular. I'd probably say, I mean, they 6 1/2 dozen effective. I'd probably say lift. But the thing about it is that if you're carpooling the way we used to call it back in the day, and you give a buddy $25, make it happen. But Uber be having so many janky episodes. It's crazy. Somebody's getting stuck and messed up. People don't want to behave. So you know, quiet again, got quiet again. I wanted to make up for yesterday because I had to go cut that short, so try to give it an extended today. Okay, see if we got any questions coming through. Hope everybody's doing okay though. Again, it got real quiet again. So, okay. Just everyone being quiet, that's all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Appreciate people coming through today. And again, a lot of delay with people with comments, and so I never know. Would have liked to have more likes today with the poll, but I was glad for everyone that came through. Do you think? I mean, what's she gonna say? What's she gonna say? The thing is that she's receptive and appreciative of getting acknowledgement, but she also got blackballed. I'm gonna tell you why she probably said it, because she doesn't feel like the way they did her. She probably doesn't want any titles. I think she looked at herself as a woman that went to work in a male dominated, very racial. Her brothers paved the way. She had a brother who was arguably the GOAT. And, and then here she comes around, and then she put in the work in as a TV actress. She put in the work for movies and, of course, for music. And they did her dirty. So I think that I understand her resentment. No, sometimes you don't look at things the same as you once did. No, I understand where she's coming from. You think about where you were, but then you also think like, hey, it ain't cracked up to be what it's all cracked up to be. It's more to her than just that, though. She don't want to just be seen as a dance artist. She wanted to see an artist who made records that changed the culture, control Rhythm Nation. She wants to be somebody who was more than just because that's Paula Abdul was a big dancer in the '80s. She doesn't want to be typecast, and also she went through what she went through. I think that's what the real message is. They whiteballed her. They said that well, you saw all these records. See, they gotta explain away 15 years. You ever done taxes and you got a big old gap where you can't explain stuff? So why you explain 15 years where she wasn't getting these awards and what they did? I don't look at it as who was dancing the best in this said era because there's more to your career than that, and that's what she's trying to emphasize. The way she posed on the stage, the way she did songs. Well, you mentioned, and she was no, she was the choreographer. She's the one who got Janet Jackson some wheels. Paul used to mess with Jackie Jackson. Paul is the one that got Jack and Janet up to par. She didn't have her music, but she had a successful career, whether you like it or not. I didn't, but for a minute, she did pretty well for herself, more than she should have. No, it's not about. I didn't say anything about having the music. We not arguing that at all. You actually was dancing. You had females that were dancers. Tony Basil was doing the choreography for a lot of people, along with Paula Abdul. Tony Basil, Mickey, You're So Fine, and she did a lot of choreography for a lot of people. Janet's thing blew up, but that wasn't until the late '80s. She didn't dance that memorable the early part. She came a long ways in a short time, but she got it together though. Tony Basil. Tony Basil did Mickey, and she was a dance choreographer. And if you watched, I can't think of what video it was. I was gonna mention someone, but it was she didn't have a hand in with Michael Pease, but she had a hand with some other videos. So, and it's a real job to be able to pose and dance when you can't do neither. Okay, we're entering the home stretch. I think I'll just go here for a straight 2 hours. That way, appreciate everybody that came through today. I will be back tomorrow, maybe Saturday. But if I come on Saturday, I'm not coming on Sunday. So, it all depends on how everything goes. Definitely tomorrow. Question mark Saturday. So, be one of that for sure. The poll went over really well. Appreciate everybody who took the poll. High percentages saying that they got disrespected. So I appreciate people's honesty. I'm not gonna say he made him, but he helped sculpture an outlook, or he made him think. He made him to be thick skinned. But no one person can make you. You have to have the will. They can give you the guidance. They can create the light. They can tell you things. He knew what not to do. He knew that hey, you're special. I can work with you. That's a good question. It should. Joe Jackson was instrumental though, mm. And he knew the tricks of the trade. You know, have to be competitive. You have to have the it, and Michael had the it. And see, that's something that you can't teach. Now, how you can't make him have the it? When you got it, there's a, you can come from the same family, but it is something else. So he didn't make him have that. He molded him into other things, but that cat had it. That's an it you can't teach. He forced him by challenging him. If you came at me and said that Jermaine's the singer, you just too young. He forced him by he. So when we go back to that respect factor, Michael earned it. And when Michael got older and saw how racist and manipulative the music business was, Joseph earned it. That's how we talk about earn. Because you got to learn something and go through it. And then when you get it, you don't forget it. So that's the lesson in the context. Both his parents had the foundation. So, I get what you're saying about Joseph, and he was impactful. But Michael had this it though too, which you can't explain. You can't explain it. You just know when someone's got it. And that's what separated the Jacksons from other family accent groups. We can nitpick about who was a better songwriter and producer. We can nitpick about instrumentation. We can nitpick about song. We can nitpick about singing, but we can't nitpick about who the lead singer was. Just doing a slow motion roll. All right, now we're getting into the home stretch. Let's get it. Anybody out there want to talk? Feel free. I've been almost 2 hours. We had quite a bit of lively gathering today, so we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I know. It's a tough business. That's why it's a cruel business, and if you ain't ready for it, yeah. But she like lifestyle, so she wants some money. Okay. He drove her. I don't know about make. When you say people made people, that's almost like saying they didn't have it. I mean, he was instrumental. He was influential, but he couldn't make what somebody had in terms of that it. She had an it with her, and he couldn't do that. He knew how to, work with songwriting and technical, but no one who makes it in show business is just made without there being obviously someone or other things that kind of fell into place. But no, well, it sounds like it because it's like when you say making them, it's like you're trying to clone them, and that's the thing. And it does play into words, and that is part of the industry, by the way. So funny that you mentioned that because that is something that they like cloning. I just got through listening to that old DJ Yella interview with Vlad where he said that he went to do a performance tribute to Easy and they had the hologram and it shook him up, but he performed it. That's the kind of mess I be talking about. So yeah, they do think they made you. it's a bit of both, but you're born to be. It seems more of a destiny. It was. Some are created over time, but most of them are born that way. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But it's a good question, though. Real good question. And I applaud it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this a day. We were on here for 2 hours, and I appreciate everyone that came through. You're born with talent, but it takes someone to nurture it, and then it has to hit you where it comes into fruition. So some people get to that point. Some, it all depends on how it's manufactured, how it's put out there. I have to say manufactured because it is a very, when you have a gift like that, it is a very manipulative thing. And sometimes people have to be coaxed into it, but you just kind of know when someone's kind of got it like that. It's just so. But it's a good question, though, nevertheless, though. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. Anyway, we're getting ready closing up on the 2 hour mark. It'll be in just a minute. Appreciate everybody that came through the reviews. Do you have to be born with talent? No. However, when someone is gifted, you know that they got it. I have seen it in different professions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have an instinct. That's a smarts. That's a gift. They can read things. It's a gift. But the people with talent, again, then you're thinking like a scientist and your math and astrology, so on and so forth. So but there are people who are naturally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some are. Some are. Some just have that instinct. You can almost tell it. Sometimes you come across somebody that just have a way of words that, and I'm not talking about the sound like, it's not even big words. It's just they put their sentence structures, their styling. They have that ability, innate ability to connect. So okay, I'm gonna call it a time now. Been up for a couple hours, and I'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate when it came through, and thank you as always for questions. And we'll do it again. Keep your questions coming, and I got videos out, so check them out if you get a chance. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Appreciate y'all.